this channel. It's your boy AT, and I'm really appreciative of you guys being here once again. But for today, we will talk about trains. Since I'm actually here now in Kumasi, so like I will take you guys on a tour to the Kumasi railway station. And the funny thing is, it has been more than 15 or maybe 15 years plus since I even felt a train actually moving here in Kumasi. The only train station or railway station which I'm very familiar that still works, and even the government is trying to expand it, is the ones that are in Accra. Apart from that place, I'm not certain that any part here in Ghana actually has a working railway station. Or maybe like they do have some at the Western and the Cape Coast, which at first was mainly used to transport cocoas and minerals. Our journey to explore the Kumasi Railway actually starts from the Edom Railway Overbridge and ends at the Asafo interchange. So we'll just be walking forward, and Google says 18 minutes, but actually it's very short as compared to the 18 minutes, maybe approximately maybe like 10 minutes, yeah, or even less, walking from the Edom Overbridge to the Asafo interchange. We are in Kumasi, and this is the Kumasi railway track. It's been a while, I'm sure more than 15 years since a train used these railway tracks. One can see the railway tracks are full of filth, weeds, rubbish, all sorts of rubbish, and one can even see an animal walking that distance. The building, the cream color, this building was the railway police station. And the funny thing is, at first, maybe 15 years ago, all those tall buildings weren't around, and on the left side one too can see that those temporary structures. With the train station, the place where people board the train or alight. This is the back of the railway station. The first thing was actually the front, so one can see how aged it is. These are one of the abandoned trains. At first, maybe like 10 years ago, one could actually find a lot of them, but now it seems it's just this one throughout the whole railway track. And this is one of the entrance to the railway station. One can see all the machineries which were used and how old these buildings are. Just under the structure, one can find a trash bin and the new buildings which I earlier mentioned. This is the place where people actually board or alight from the train. One can see how dirty the place is. Just looking at the water, the greenish water trapped under the railway track. We had some difficulties when trying to gather these materials. When we reached the train station, I meant the place where people board the trains and alight from their trains. We found it difficult. There are some people just around that place. They approach us asked us to stop the video and even told us that we need to bring some documents, which from maybe from the supervisors, they take caretakers of that place. And the funny thing is, the railway station being in this bad condition actually has a caretaker. It's very funny. It's very funny. That's why for that's why we couldn't actually get a vivid video at that particular place, but we just jumped to the Asafin Sashi in order to get at least some kind of material for you guys. Based on the conversation with those guys, we just left that place. So now we are standing on the Asafin interchange, trying to zoom to get a clear view of the second entrance to the railway station. One can see actually now the place has even turned as a parking stage for the these heavy duty trucks. One of the things which I was very worried about is this new building, which is constructed just in the middle of the railway tracks. Here is an old bridge for the trains, and one can see just how dirty the water under it is. This particular site was used to fuel trains, so one can actually even see the fuel pumps and a train fuel tank. Still standing on the Asafo interchange, one can find several temporary structures. These temporary structures are very different as compared to the one we saw earlier. These people actually live here, so these people are actually squatters. All those tall buildings 15 years back, this place didn't have all those modernized tall buildings. When one was actually standing on the road, one can actually see just the railway station. They have built all sorts of tall buildings just around it. This is the Asafo interchange we are actually standing on. The other side too is the continuation of the railway tracks, and one can see actually the cocoa board building in Kumasi. This is actually the other side of the Asafo interchange, just behind the cocoa board building. One can see the railway tracks which are gradually disappearing. This is under the Asafo interchange. One can see there is another railway track which is also being gradually covered by sand. We are back to where we started from. So now we actually moving towards the Kumasi KGTR new markets and bus terminal. It's just maybe like as the Google map shows 6 minutes when walking. The railway tracks can still be seen even when one reaches the KGTR new bus terminal. So now back to reality. One can actually see how the place looked like. It's not actually very different from the other side of the railway tracks. One can see the place is fully covered with dirt, and the yellow and green building at first was used for the restroom or the train stop for people to eat. To be frank with you, it seems every structure at this railway station is not properly taken care of. But the irony is, they said they have people who actually do take care of it. But just looking at it, I'm not certain.